final episode here at the Eifel. Welcome, everyone. And as you might notice, since we're here in Germany, yes, this is the Eurovision Song Contest. I'm feeling like that because I'm also presenting in German and we do need the pedal. You know that normally is start and stop. This is a go for German and English. Also, liebe Leute, herzlich willkommen in der Eifel. Herzlich willkommen zu der Goodyear 4 Truck Europameisterschaft. Schön, dass ihr alle mit dabei sind. Schön, dass ihr da seid. Und warum halte ich das hier hoch? Ja, ihr habt es schon bemerkt, denn wir sprechen Deutsch und Englisch hier in diesem Wettbewerb, damit wir halt weltweit euch alle begrüßen dürfen da draußen an den Endgeräten und natürlich auch hier direkt beim ADAC Truck Grand Prix. Wer ist denn noch da? Ich möchte mal ein bisschen was hören von der Tribüne. Ah, doch so viele. Ich habe es tatsächlich gehört. Thank you very much. The applause was so big over there. Welcome everyone. We're so excited ahead of race number 4 at this weekend. It's Reverse Grid Time. Es geht um das Reverse Grid. Also insofern erwarten wir ganz schön viel Action, Überholmanöver und sind ganz gespannt, wer sich hier am Ende durchsetzen wird. Wir wissen schon, dass es noch einen anderen Wettbewerb gab, der war neu, und zwar der Truck Efficiency Run. Und jetzt sprechen wir mit der Zweitplatzierten vom Truck Efficiency Run, powered by Krone. Und das ist Christina Scheib. Moin.
Hallo.
Erstmal herzlichen Glückwunsch zum zweiten Platz dieses absolut neuen Wettbewerbs. Es geht ja darum, effizient zu sein und tatsächlich auch wirklich andere Parameter als normalerweise sonst beim Rennsport. Wie hast du dich vorbereitet? How did she get prepped for this efficiency run? Different parameters.
Also vorbereitet, ich habe mir ein paar Tipps geholt, war sehr nervös, weil man fährt ja eigentlich gegen den LKW und ja, es war eine riesengroße Erfahrung, auf der Nordschleife zu fahren, aber es war auch wieder, sage ich, eine riesengroße Geschichte für die Zukunft, weil man einfach zeigen kann, dass auch LKWs auf einer Rennstrecke effizient fahren können.
This is absolutely a glance into the future, she said, because it's about the efficiency and that you can show that truck racing is also very efficient and also the experience on the famous, the legendary Nordschleife. She said, well, prepared, but she gets some tips here and there. Und grundsätzlich kann man ja aber auch sagen, das lässt sich sicherlich auch gerne mal wiederholen. Hättest du Bock, das nochmal zu machen?
Auf jeden Fall, also auf jeden Fall. Und die Leute sollen sich, wenn es nächstes Jahr ist, auf jeden Fall wieder bewerben und sollen mitmachen.
So she said, we're going to repeat that because it's been great fun. Maybe next year, if you hear something about that, then join us then there on the grid. But speaking about the truck racing right now in the European Championship, lass uns nochmal über die Truck-Europameisterschaft sprechen. Das ist ein Wettbewerb, der uns alle packt, immer wieder mitreißt, auch an diesem Wochenende.
Ja, es ist eigentlich für mich schon so wie ein Herzinfarkt. Ich stehe wirklich kurz vorm Herzinfarkt, wenn man sie auch wie vorher im Rennen sieht, dass sie zu dritt gegeneinander fighten. Also es ist schon phänomenal und es ist einfach der Hammer.
So she said absolutely packed and thrilled by the action here on the grid. For example, if you see three trucks competing side by side, as we have seen at the first race here on Sunday. But sometimes there's a little bit more of a contact. We had that with Don't Touch Racing Team. Also mit Don't Touch, die hatten natürlich ein bisschen mehr Kontakt, als wir uns das so gewünscht hatten. Aber das war etwas, wo auch mein Adrenalinpegel hochgeschnellt ist. Wie hast du das von außen verfolgt, dass dieses Team es noch geschafft hat, Bradley Smith dann noch starten zu lassen im ersten Rennen?
Also ich war wirklich überrascht und Wahnsinn. Also wir haben gesagt, oh Gott, Don't Touch Racing ist ganz weit hinten. Und auf einmal hat man gesehen, wie er Gas gegeben hat, wie er gekämpft hat. Also wirklich da ein großes Kompliment.
Bradley Smith was an absolute fighter there because Don't Touch Racing, he came from the pit lane and then he was really finding his way through. Absolutely impressive. Reverse grid always means special overtaking maneuvers. What does she expect? Also was erwartest du dir jetzt von diesem einfach letzten Rennen des Wochenendes, wo es ja auch immer darum heißt, ordentlich zu überholen?
Also eigentlich sind die letzten Rennen, also das letzte Rennen ist ja meistens immer das härteste und deswegen glaube ich, dass es wahnsinnig spannend wird und ich hoffe, ich habe jetzt schon wieder Gänsehaut, wenn ich drüber nachdenke und ich drücke jedem die Daumen.
She's absolutely goosebumps over there because that is a thrilling last race of this race weekend here at the Nürburgring. We're absolutely excited. Thank you very much. Danke dir, Christina.
Ich sage vielen Dank.
Und dann sehen wir uns bald wieder. Und wir sagen jetzt erstmal Hallo zu unseren Kommentatoren. Yes, all languages. But sorry, Fonzi, Español no está aquí. Aber normally we do have the Spanish commentary also again with Fonzi Cebrian. German, it's Joachim Eberts, and the British side is Ches Draco. 3 commentators, one job to do, guys.
Thank you, Christina. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the final race broadcast of the weekend here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. It's been a magical weekend here at the Nürburgring once again, as it always is for the ADAC International Truck Grand Prix. So busy, so much to do, and lots of racing to enjoy. There's been great moments. There's been some pretty tough moments as well, but everybody is now excited ahead of this final race of the weekend. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez making his way to the front of the grid there. He'll start in second position for this one. Mark Taylor making his way to the pole spot on the right-hand side. The two of them had some amazing battles last season in the Chrome class. This time round, one of them is in Chrome and one is in Titan. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez having an amazing championship last year and really showing everybody who's boss. Had a good fight though all the way to the end, but I tell you, it's certainly been exciting to see how he makes his way up into the Titan category, and we're looking forward to seeing how he progresses because we know he always gets faster and faster. I mean, very intrigued to see how he does in this race as well from the front row of the grid. Let's go back to Christina. She's with Lukas Hahn.
Ja, mal ganz schnelles Wort hier nochmal mit Lukas Hahn. Es geht um das letzte Rennen und natürlich darum, vielleicht nochmal vorne mitzumischen. Wie bist du vorbereitet?
Ja, wir haben jetzt das Fahrzeug nochmal ganz gut vorbereitet. Ich gebe jetzt nochmal alles und versuche nochmal einen Podiumsplatz rauszufahren.
Mit welchem Ziel gehst du in die erste Kurve? Einfach durchkommen oder was macht man da?
Ja, zumindest mal ohne Kollision durchkommen, fair durchkommen und versuche, die Schnalle hinter mir zu halten und vielleicht doch die ein oder andere Lücke zu sehen, wo man vielleicht nach vorne kommt. Aber es kommt, wie es kommt, dann fahren wir Rennen.
Thank you very much. So, here, the quick translation, he said that he is absolutely prepped. That changed a bit of the setup, but he's absolutely confident. And then about the first turn, yeah, you need to find the pace there. You need to find this sweet and tiny spot to get through. And he hopes that you're going to manage to get through. Back to commentators für euch nochmal.
Always good fun to see Lukas Hahn on the grid. He's a lovely character to have around and a fierce racer as well. We've seen some great results from him in the past. He took his first ever overall race victory here at the Nürburgring just a couple of years ago. We had a great emotional scene where Jochen Hahn congratulated him for said victory with a wonderful embrace. And now he's going to try and get another one of those race victories. Starting near the front of the grid then, fourth position for him, alongside Steffi Halm, pole position on the right-hand side of the grid here at the Nürburgring. Fourth row of the grid is occupied by Jochen Hahn and Norbert Kisch. Sascha Lenz and Antonio Albacetti on row 3. They'll certainly be exciting to watch through this one. Clemens Hecker, by the way, all absolutely fine. Went to see them in the gap between the two races, and they were all in good spirits. Looking forward to the final one of the weekend. Apparently, the fire that was reported was the the turbocharger cover. Basically, they run a turbocharger to sort of keep all the heat inside, so it doesn't spread to other parts of the engine and the compartment. Obviously, where it's all in close quarters, and the actual turbocharger cover itself got too hot and started a small fire, but hasn't caused any further damage to anything on the truck. The cover did its job at the end of the day, so they're all good to go. But John Newell did just pip them to the line in the end. So Clemens Hecker finished that first race in 10th, and that's where he will start this second one of the day. Luke Garrett and Bradley Smith will be alongside one another on row 6. Bradley will be finally hoping for a decent result here. He's had a bit of a tough weekend, 5th and 6th in his class. And then in overall positions, 3 12th places so far. So a lot of work to do for Bradley here, but the team did an amazing job in that last race. It was a joy to see it. And, well, we certainly hope that they don't have to make any similar repairs. René Reinert is making his way to the back of the grid, and I'm making my way to silence because we're going to welcome our international TV audience in just a moment's time. So we'll be back with you in a sec.
Die beiden Piloten, die sind hier auf dem Produkt, auf dem Hause von MAN am Start.
This is where the music plays. Welcome everyone to the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, the final episode of this year's Nürburgring ADAC Truck Grand Prix. Welcome everyone, worldwide viewers. And since we are in Germany, it's all about the points, and I'm feeling like on the Eurovision Song Contest. This is why we also say hello to our German fans. Herzlich willkommen hier in der Eifel zu der Goodyear FIA Truck Europameisterschaft. Schön, dass ihr alle mit dabei seid. Und wir freuen uns auf das allerletzte Rennen. Und da wollen wir uns jetzt noch mal eine Stimme holen. We want to talk to one of the drivers with it. Sascha Lenz over here. Hallo, hallo, hallo. Hallo. Letztes Rennen. Noch einmal Luft holen und dann geht's los. Was ist deine Erwartungshaltung?
Ja gut, erstmal einen guten Start zu haben und versuchen, mich aus allem rauszuhalten. Und von hinten kommen auch wieder schnelle Jungs. Also von daher, du musst da hinten gucken, du musst da vorne gucken. Aber trotzdem will ich natürlich mein Bestmögliches geben und so weit wie möglich nach vorne kommen.
The motto is keeping out of trouble because there are fast guys behind him and he is of course trying to get those guys in front of him. Grundsätzlich die erste Kurve, darüber haben wir schon viel gesprochen, aber was erwartet einen dann sonst noch im Rennen?
Ja gut, nicht nur die erste Kurve. Ich meine, die Mercedes Arena, da gibt es mehrere Linien. Du kannst auch teilweise außen überholen, wenn sie alle links bleiben. Also es ist sehr, sehr schwierig, gut durch die Mercedes Arena durchzukommen. Und dann hoffe ich, wenn ich gut durch die Mercedes Arena gekommen bin, dass ich nach vorne attackieren kann.
Danke dir. So it's absolutely interesting because here you can find some different lines if you're entering the AMG arena over there. You need to find the perfect line. Sometimes you can overtake on the outside, which he's trying to do maybe, or find his line. I'm finding my line right now. We are going to Clemens Hecker, but first of all, we welcome our commentators. Willkommen unseren Kommentatoren.
Thank you, Christina. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the final race of the weekend here at the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship as part of the ADAC International Truck Grand Prix here at the Nürburgring. Chaz Draycott commentating on site this weekend. Really enjoying myself, having a fantastic weekend. Can't believe it's coming to a close already, though. We've had a busy day here today on Sunday, and it is a massive shame that it is about to draw to a close. But we're going to go out with a bang, and we're going to have a fantastic final race, which, as we've alluded to, is always full of action and interesting overtaking manoeuvres. Lots of the, in inverted commas, faster drivers making their way through the pack. The drivers that finished in the first few places making steady progress back towards the front of the field. The zip ties have stitched up many a piece of bodywork since the last race. There was lots of contact here and there. That's the number 25 of Clemens Hecker. Christina making her way over there to have an interview with him. And I'm told she's already there, so let's head down.
Ja, so lang war der Weg nicht. It's not been a long road for us, but a long road for Clemens Hecker this weekend. And he's been on fire, the truck, or was it so bad? Of course, safety manners are always important. Also es geht natürlich erstmal um die Sicherheit, aber so doll war zum Glück am Ende das Feuer dann doch nicht, oder?
Nein, wir hatten eine kleine Leckage am Turbolader. Wir haben um den Turbo nochmal einen Hitzeschutz gehabt. Der hatte sich so ein bisschen voll Öl gesogen. Ist natürlich schlecht, wenn man dann in der letzten Kurve seine Position verliert. Ich glaube, um 300 haben wir das Treppchen verpasst, aber Öl auf der Hinterachse ist nichts Gutes.
And it's been a small, slightly damage there on the turbo, and of course it's not the good idea if that happens maybe on the last turn on the race. But of course we're trying to get right now the new pace. Jetzt geht es ja darum, nochmal richtig Fahrt aufzunehmen vor dem letzten Rennen. Was ist so dein Ziel? Wie willst du hier durchkommen?
Du, das, was wir heute im ersten Rennen gesehen haben, also die Stimmung hier im Startergrid ist schon nicht ohne. So wie Sascha eben auch schon gesagt hat, irgendwie versuchen überall rauszuhalten und heile durchzukommen.
So keeping out of trouble, that's the one way to deal with it. Jill, noch mal schnell eine Frage an dich. A quick question to you. Well, this has been a weekend. Of course, the turbo pressure was down. You needed to fix everything. Der Turbo war runter. Die mussten so viel ändern. Oh, und wie seid ihr jetzt durchgekommen?
Ja, eigentlich haben wir alles versucht. Freitag am Samstag schon. Nichts hat geklappt dann für uns Gefühl. Und dann kommt das jetzt wieder alles raus. So, das ist ja gut. Gute Quali gefahren und dann mal sehen, wie es jetzt geht. Hè?
Yeah, they tried everything on Saturday and Sunday, so many issues, but she said then we had a good qualifying. Right now we're trying to get the best race out of it. Was wäre denn so das Optimum? Jetzt einfach nur irgendwie durchkommen oder doch ein bisschen mehr?
Ja, einfach durchkommen ist ja natürlich das Beste, was es gibt, aber Podium muss doch ja rein sein, hè?
That's not too bad thinking about the podium, of course, but to get through. Good luck for that. Danke dir.
Thank you. Danke.
Also zurück zu unseren Kommentatoren und wir hoffen, dass wir jetzt auch gut durchkommen hier durch das Rennen.
Yeah, always good to see that the damage has not kept Clemens Hecker out of this final race of the weekend. It didn't spread too far, so fortunately able to continue on and make the most of this last race. There you see a lovely shot of our grid from down at turn 1. You can see the official truck of the championship over on the right-hand side, the pace truck in the middle, and then our front row made up of Mark Taylor and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, ready to do battle here at the Nürburgring. And I'm sure we're going to get some fireworks. Not quite as spectacular as the fireworks that we had last night down at the Mullenbach-Schleife. It was a wonderful evening of celebrations of this amazing one-truck family once again, as we have every year. But of course, the fireworks that a lot of people are here to see are on the track. Let's go back to Christina.
Und ich habe noch unseren englischen Kommentator im Ohr, der gesagt hat, so, Paul Luis, als er natürlich beim letzten Rennen dann rausgekommen ist, ¿Cómo puedes mantenerte en la pista, Luis?
Bueno, a ver, vamos a intentarlo, a ver cómo se da ahora esta prueba. Bueno, la verdad es que no estoy teniendo un buen fin de semana, pero bueno, estamos intentando colocar todo aquello que no está en su sitio y a ver qué sale, no sé.
Muchas gracias, buena suerte. We wish him luck, also wir wünschen ihm natürlich ganz viel Glück. Er sagt, ja, wir haben nicht so richtig das glückliche Wochenende gerade, aber es geht jetzt wirklich nur darum, einfach auch mal auf dem Track zu bleiben. So he's trying to stay still on track and we do also. Ready to race number 4, everyone.
Yeah, Louis having a very unfortunate moment in that previous race. As I said at the time, he could have so easily been the hero in that situation. And unfortunately, that spin took him out of contention for that battle. We have our Ford F-Max on screen right now. May Fisher behind the wheel on the inspection lap of the circuit. Really throwing the truck around and putting it through a great lap of this wonderful Nürburgring circuit. This will be her final inspection lap of the weekend, but we thank May for her service to the series, and I'm sure she enjoys her job. I don't know why you wouldn't. The Ford F-Max, though, as you all know by now, as I've been telling you for a few years, was tested across 11 countries and 4 continents using over 200 prototype units. There was over 15,000 hours of lab testing, and the road testing that took place over those many continents was over 5 million kilometers in length. And we now have the International Truck of the Year 2019 and the official truck of the championship. Let's have a look at the layout of this place then. You'll recognise that we're on the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit, but not the circuit that you all know and love. This is the shorter layout. You exit the Mercedes-Benz Arena, and instead of going left down towards the Dunlop Kara at the bottom, that's where the Mullenbach-Schleife is. We're going into the shorter hairpin and then back up to Bilstein. Still nearly 2 minutes a lap here, though. And the temperatures this afternoon, nice, over 20 degrees, all comfortable. It's not too hot. The sun was burning my ever-thinning hair earlier to a crisp, but it was still lovely. There's a bit of wind here at the Nürburgring, as there so often is, and that tends to cool things down slightly, and it means that the drivers and teams can be a little more comfortable over the course of the weekend. All the sign bearers and flag bearers are now off the grid. All that leaves is just a couple more personnel. Some of the ADAC marshals still on the grid. I just heard the siren outside, which I believe will mean the 1 minute board, as it is 2:54 local time. And you can see we have such a well-presented grid here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Most of the time, actually, when we were walking up and down the paddock, most of the time was seen just cleaning the trucks, to be honest. They have them fixed up so quickly after a race. It's just a case of giving them a quick snow foam and a jet wash and getting them ready to go. And as you see, they are all so beautifully presented. A little bit of flashing of the lights there by Norbert Kisch. He will start from 8th on the grid. And he will have Jochen Hahn alongside him on that 4th row. Green flag flies then at 2:55 local time, and the field will head down to turn 1 and make their way around the lap for the formation lap for the final time this weekend here at the Nürburgring. And Lucas Hahn and Steffi Halm on the second row of the grid will certainly be an enticing battle, so to speak. Two Ivecos against one another. Iveco is very similar to this one, actually. This is the electric SE-Way pace truck that we have with us in the championship for 2025. I believe this may be the last appearance of it in this season, actually. I think the rest of the duties are going to be taken over by the bio-LNG powered Iveco S-Way that we have. Iveco, though, a great long-standing partner of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, and they are a global presence in this industry and have been for many years now. And this electrification of the E-Way, or the SE-Way, I should say, has been wonderful. And we thank Iveco for supporting us so much, and also to Nico as well for being the pace truck driver throughout the season. He's done a wonderful job of providing this service. And we'll take a look through the grid, shall we? Mark Taylor, pole position. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez alongside him, 8th and 7th respectively in the first race. Mark comes into this one with the Chrome Championship lead, so not too much risk to take. Steffi Halm and Lucas Hahn make up the second row of the grid. As I mentioned a moment ago, they'll be interesting to watch. Potential race winners in both of them. Sasha Lenz and Antonio Albacete could definitely benefit from some shenanigans in front of them. You've just got to keep their nose out of trouble. They should be fine. Same goes for Jochen Hahn and Norbert Kisch. We know Norby's great in these second races of the day. He has all potential to go through the pack and take a win. It's just a case of how quickly he gets through. John Newell overtook Clemens Hecker right at the end of the previous race in race number 3. And I'm sure Clemens Hecker will hope to get one back on him this time round. Luke Garrett will start in 11th place after that wonderful fight with Bradley Smith at the end of the last race. Bradley's truck and him all fired up and ready to go. Stefan Kirsch is next ahead of Louis Requenco. He makes up the 7th row. Christian Ruppert will start from 15th ahead of Stefan Faas. And then in 17th position at the tail end of the order, we will have René Reinert hoping to make up some ground from that last position. He's got to make his way through the Chrome class, try and do so clean and tidy. He's just got to stay out of trouble himself as well and realise that the drivers that he'll be overtaking aren't really in it for a championship fight with him. There is our dancing marshal once again at the final corner. They've even got bananas on the grass skirt this time round. They're really adding to it. I didn't notice the bananas earlier if they were there, so do forgive me. Look at the beautiful scenery here at the Nürburgring. What a fantastic place to go racing this is. They round the final corner then. Mark Taylor is on pole position, and race number 4, the final race of the weekend here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, gets underway, and it looks like a great launch actually by Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Sasha Lenz has moved to the right-hand side, trying to get down the inside of Steffi Halm. Is he going to be late enough on the brakes? No. Slots back into position. Norbert Kisch tries to stay out of all of that checkup on the outside line, goes from right to left. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez through and safe. Looks like Luke Garrett struggles through the first corner. René Reinert making up a place on Christian Ruppert. He's dropped behind a few drivers actually. Looks all clean and tidy over the crest there, but it's Jose Eduardo Rodriguez going up from 2nd place into 1st. Great progress by him as Clemens Hecker across the grass on the inside of the left-hander. Tries to stay out of trouble. René Reinert there trying to overtake Stefan Faas. There's a little bit of shaking and moving in the middle there. That looked like Sasha Lenz and Jochen Hahn getting a bit friendly. Norbert Kisch also stuck in that too. Tries to get around the outside. Antonio Albacete holding them off. Antonio's not had a great start there actually. He's lost a few places with Sasha Lenz staying ahead. And then also Jochen Hahn and now Norbert Kisch getting through. Albacete down into 8th position from 6th on the grid. Finishing 3rd in that earlier race really hasn't helped him out actually here, but Jose Eduardo Rodriguez leads the way. If he streaks far enough ahead here, he could definitely take a race victory, and that'd be a very popular one indeed for the young Portuguese driver. Everybody else continuing on. René Reinert has already moved up from 17th to 15th, 2 places gained in this lap so far. Look at them all now hopping over the chicane. You can see the cabs just bouncing around. It's really difficult, actually, if you're following a truck in front. It's really hard to not clip the penalty markers and going a little bit too early there. Christian Ruppert bringing up the back of the pack. Look at the heat haze in the air here as they head across the start-finish line for the first time. Can't resist the urge to look out of the window and see these things fly past the office. It's absolutely awesome as they get up to nearly 100 miles an hour as they get past where we're located here, just by the bridge at the far end. Looked like René Reinert was trying to make another place up as well, actually. He was side by side further down the order. His next target was Louis Requenco. The Spaniard will definitely put up a fight, that's safe to say. So too will Lucas Hahn if Sascha Lenz wants to come through. Mark Taylor leading the Chrome class at the moment. Big lunge by Sascha down the inside on Lucas. Great stuff. Lucas says not on your life. Round the outside, that's going to become the inside. Watch Jochen Hahn here in the white and blue Iveco behind these two. Lucas might help his father out here, and he has done absolutely. A 3 wide down towards the hairpin. Jochen says, go on then, I'll have some of that. Norbert Kish in there as well. Still Sascha Lenz has gotten in front. They end up 2 wide into the hairpin. Norbert Kish and Lucas Hahn. No love lost between those pair. They're reigniting the fight. Sascha Lenz sideways out of the hairpin. Bit of a knock there to Norbert Kish. A little bit more contact involved as well. Lucas Hahn back down the inside. Runs wide into the side of Norby. A little bit of elbowing going on there. Antonio Albacete now makes his way through as well. Lucas has been shoveled out of the way by just about everybody, and now he's properly shoveled out of the way onto the gravel. And that's going to lose him another place in the Chrome class, because through goes Clemens Hecker. Clemens Hecker now up into a podium place in the class. He's gotten ahead of John Newell, who's had a bit of a horrible first few laps. So after having a turbo on fire just about an hour and a half ago, Clemens Hecker suddenly finds himself second in the Chrome class to Mark Taylor. He's got a hold on ahead of Lucas Hahn, though. He's definitely been the fastest in the Chrome class so far this weekend. And Lucas again sends it down the inside into the final corner. Clemens bravely cuts the nose off the Iveco. Says, not on your life. Scan your power all the way. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez leads it then. Then it's Mark Taylor. Steffi Hallman, 3rd position. She'll want to grab a podium here at the Nürburgring. That'll be a very popular result. Jochen Hahn 4th. Sascha Lenz in 5th. Norbert Kish still in 6th position. It's only the beginning of lap 3, though. And Norby is already up to 6th. Albacete 7th. Hecker now 8th overall. Great start to the race by Jochen Hahn, though. He took advantage of that situation, didn't he? Where Lucas and Sascha came to blows. And you can expect a similar move from Norby very soon. Although, maybe a little bit of a sting in the tail here for Clemens Hecker. He's under investigation for overspeeding. And normally, it's pretty black and white when it comes to those sorts of investigations and penalties. They're not really under investigation unless there's been already some pretty serious proof that they've gone a bit too fast. We'll keep our eye out on it, though. Obviously, as soon as the messages come through, we'll be able to tell you. So long as I'm looking at the screen, of course. There's a black and white flag out for Norbert Kish for hitting a penalty marker at turn 6. Not sure if he was put there by somebody else, as Jochen Hahn sends a move way up the inside there of fellow Iveco driver Steffi Halm. He says, sorry Steffi, but I really need a podium here today. I need another one. And he says, you're not going to get it from me. Steffi now trying to defend. She's on the inside into the chicane. Decides against it, backs out a little bit early. Sascha Lenz then sends it up the inside. Sascha tries to make the move into there. Little bounce over the curb. Steffi has to go straight on. Back onto the circuit, kicking up the dust. Rejoins on the racing line, though. Sascha might have to send it back up the inside here. Where's he gone? He's suddenly under attack from Norbert Kish. Now, this is going to be an interesting situation because I feel like Steffi might have to give that position back to Sascha Lenz, but that will also mean that she has to move out of the way of Norbert Kish now as well. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Mark Taylor will be loving this, though, because they can disappear up the road a few seconds while these guys continue to fight. Norby is now ahead of Sascha Lenz. Sascha goes as late on the brakes as he dares, though. Can't quite get it turned in at enough speed to stay in front of Norbert Kish. And now Steffi in a bit of a strange situation here. I don't particularly think she gained an advantage by going off the circuit, but it definitely aided her in holding the position from Sascha. But as a result of how close the battle is, Sascha is now 2 trucks behind, so give that place to Sasha, she'd have to give a free position away to Norby. And we know Steffi, she'll never want to do that. Goes to the inside to defend. Norby tries to go as late as he can on the brakes. Steffi cuts the nose off the front of the MAN. And will now focus on trying to get a good run out of the corner. Seems to do so before they head left now into Bilstein. But the number 1 MAN just looks inevitable at this point. The way its body language translates is just fantastic. Really leaning forward on that front axle. A little bit of bodywork on the circuit there. Something on the circuit. Anyway, it doesn't seem like bodywork because it's not being flung away by the air over the trucks. We've had a lot of penalty marker warnings come through. Just seen the message from race control. Trucks 38, 23, 24 are some of them as Norbert Kish goes through on Steffi Halm into the chicane. It's a little bit messy after that. Sasha Lenz tries to make a move. But it's Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Antonio Albacete, Stefan Fast, Mark Taylor, Louis Requenco and Luke Garrett have all got first penalty marker warnings come through for them. So they'll have to be careful of track limits for the rest of the race. Once you get a third, you get 2 warnings. Once you hit a third, you have a drive-through penalty, basically, that you have to serve within 3 laps. And Sasha Lenz all over the back of Steffi Halm's Iveco now, trying to make the move. Steffi turns in late into the corner. It holds Sasha up, and Antonio Albacete suddenly on the scene as well. He'll be gutted not to have got a podium earlier, and look at that by Antonio. Down the inside, Sasha tries to squeeze him to the apex. Antonio gets on the power a little bit sooner. Sasha has run out slightly wide. And if Antonio gets it done, he does, actually. I was going to say, if he doesn't get it done by there, then Sasha will have the inside line for the next corner. But great stuff, great opportunism there. Sasha's been shuffled back in the order, which is a big shame. But this is good, clean stuff, as imposed by the 100% renewable HVO diesel that our trucks run on. Great racing so far here in the 4th and final race. It's been frantic, but it's been clean. That's the main thing. There's been a little bit of contact here and there, but it's been nothing malicious, nothing completely ridiculous, nothing over the top. Clemens Hecker getting his 2nd penalty marker warning. So he's really having a bit of a rough race so far. Stefan Faas and Stefan Kirsch have just swapped positions as well. 14th place now for Stefan Faas. René Reinert continuing to move up the order here, actually. He's in 10th position overall now. 7th in his class. But he's gotten ahead of 7 trucks already. And it's only just the end of the 5th lap. Really impressive stuff by René Reinert, showing us exactly why he was so popular when he first raced with us many years ago. Number 33, Stefan Kirsch, is under investigation for cutting the chicane. So hopefully no major penalty for him, but at the end of the day, you can't do it. So you've got the necessary slap on the wrists. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez continues to lead this race then. We're getting to the halfway point now. We're on lap 6 out of 12. Don't be mistaken, I can read. It's just that the top left timer, or the little ticker, shows you how many laps are completed. Sasha Lenz down the inside of Antonio Albacete, gets the move back. And the Spaniard will not take that one lying down. He'll be back with him. For the last few years, it's been these two battling over 3rd and 4th in the championship time and time again. A big slide there, actually, from Sasha Lenz. But you know what? It worked for him. He got great traction off the corner and managed to carry some wonderful mid-corner speed. Now, what can they do about Steffi Halm? Steffi currently 3rd in the championship. She's working on getting away from René Reinert in the standings as well, especially here. René at the moment currently running in 10th place overall, as there is Louis Requenco off the road. Not quite as drastically as he was in the first race. Time penalty coming through for Stefan Kirsch, number 33, because he left the track and gained an advantage. As, whoa, dearie me, what has happened there? There's liquid down. There is liquid down through that corner. And Mark Taylor, Jochen Hahn, Norbert Kish, everybody's off. Everybody going off into the gravel. Loads of liquid down. Have they kept it out of the wall? They have. Hopefully nobody's completely spun around. Oh my goodness me, they've all come back on. But there is loads of fluid down through that right-hander. Somebody has lost either a water tank or some coolant or something there. Mark Taylor still struggling now. That was the wrong chicane, actually, that was. That was the faster of the 2 chicanes. There's fluid down there as well, maybe. Maybe just kept it on his tyres. that could be enough to neutralise the race, you know. I don't know what the positions have changed like those. Steffi Halm still ahead of Albacete as well. Big move up the inside by Lucas Hahn. Sends it into the final corner, slaps into the side of Clemens Hecker. There's oil in the exit of turn 8, apparently. Not sure whose oil that was. We'll have to look at who's not come through, I guess. Everybody seems to have done their laps, but yeah, that was crazy, crazy stuff. Apparently it's cooling water. There's a correction there from race control. So somebody's lost some coolant. And that caused a crazy, crazy moment. I was going to say a massive moment enough for Mark Taylor, but then everybody else just floated off the track into the gravel. It's a miracle that nobody completely spun and there wasn't a larger incident there. Some of the trucks got very close to the wall. I think Sasha Lenz was one of the ones that went all the way out into the gravel trap. Lucas Hahn has gotten through on Clemens Hecker, but was it the fairest of moves? Who knows? He really did rattle off the side of the Scania. And, oh, just to make matters worse for Clemens Hecker, he's got a 10-second time penalty now for overspeeding. Jose Eduardo off. Race leader off over the gravel. And they've turned the Nürburgring into a rallycross circuit now. Hopefully no major issues. Yeah, Mark Taylor's off again as well in the background. He loses overall podium positions to Jochen Hahn and Norbert Kisch. Everybody in the background you can see clinging to the inside to try and hold on to whatever grip they have. But goodness me, wild stuff at turn 8 here. It is something the drivers can do their best to avoid anyway. So I don't think it's worth red flagging or anything, as Mark Taylor now has an issue at the final corner. I think it might be his, you know. He's now coming into the pits. This race going from what was a potential dream chrome victory for Mark Taylor. It's suddenly going to swap around and it's going to be Lucas Hahn that takes the chrome lead. Clemens Hecker has a 10-second penalty. And I must admit as well that we have obviously got the environmental accreditation from the FIA, 3 stars, despite throwing coolant everywhere. Still, it's all clean fun, we promise. But at the moment, this is now a battle for podium position here. Norbert Kisch and Jochen Hahn. Will Norby throw it up the inside? No, Jochen's wise to that. The bodywork actually from that moment through the gravel has been sort of bent in on the left rear of Jochen's truck. On lap 8 out of 12, and that might be something to do with it. I did wonder if I saw a pipe hanging down on Mark's truck, you know, but I think maybe that could have probably come as damage from going over the gravel. So was it his coolant to begin with? Not sure. Clemens Hecker under investigation again for overspeeding. Not a particular weekend to remember for Clemens and the Hecker racing team. Jochen Hahn in second place though, hoping that this man has a much worse time of it, but Jose Eduardo has learned his lesson now. And he doesn't run as wide through the corner. Mark Taylor now tumbling down the order as everybody completes the first sector. Look at them all trying to avoid that fluid there on the outside line. René Reinert having a great job through the order. So let's try and figure out this chrome order now then. So Lucas Hahn will definitely win this, subject to any penalties for the incident with Clemens Hecker. With Clemens getting a 10-second penalty, that means Bradley Smith will inherit second place in the chrome class. What an amazing turnaround that is for Bradley. More damage limitation to make sure that Mark Taylor doesn't fly too far ahead in the championship order. Norbert Kisch and Jochen Hahn, though, battling away. Great stuff to see as they fight for second position. Steffi Halm still holding on to 4th place. Sasha Lenz 5th. Albacete 6th. Lucas Hahn in 7th. Leading chrome. René Reinert up into 8th from the back of the grid. That's a really good drive by René. Looks like Mark Taylor will be out of this race now. He's sat in the pits for a few laps. But can Norbert Kisch get past Jochen Hahn? That's going to be the question. Jochen's going to do his very best to defend here on home soil. He'll put the truck where he needs to put it, right in the middle of the road into that hairpin. That's one of Norby's favourite overtaking places, so he needs to make sure that he always puts the truck there in the right spot. But Jochen defending as well as he can do. He's realistic about his chances and knows that he doesn't have all of the pace over Norby every round. And as they head down the hill then, back to the final chicane, it's looking likely that we may get our 4th different winner of the championship. Luke Garrett has had his 2nd penalty marker warning. It's been confirmed that it was from Mark Taylor's machine. Not sure if he's hopped over a curb or something to break that, but it's devastating stuff. Across the line they go once again then. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, 9 laps completed, then moves on to lap 10 out of 12. And you know what? Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn are only closing in by about 2 to 3 tenths a lap here. And Jose Eduardo's still got 3.4 seconds over them, so it's likely that if he keeps his pace up here, doesn't make any mistakes, he could win this one. He's just got to keep those sectors nice and green, like the little graphic there that tells you about our 100% renewable HVO diesel. Steffi Halm holding on to 4th place from Sasha Lenz. Antonio Albacete currently just behind this pair in 6th. And then Lucas Hahn at 7th. René Reinert still 8th. Clemens Hecker inside the top 10. But only for now. 10-second penalty for him coming his way. And he's under investigation for a 2nd overspeeding. Look at the 3 of them all glued to each other. René putting Lucas under pressure in the background as well. Bradley Smith there just right behind Clemens at the minute. I think he knows that if he sits there, then he'll still be classified ahead of him in the overall result. And obviously in the chrome result as well. That'll score him some decent points over Mark Taylor. And again, another twist in this championship between these 2 British protagonists. They don't necessarily find themselves fighting on track that often. They just like ships in the night when it comes to championship points. Because Bradley will get 9 in the chrome class, and then Mark will get none. So Bradley will have gone from having a... Oh, hello, I think Clemens Hecker wants to go into the pits here. What is going on? Oh, dearie me. I think Clemens wanted to go over to the right and into the pit lane. And, oh, Bradley clips him on the exit there. Wheel-to-wheel contact. Hopefully that won't have put a tyre down on Clemens' truck. I think a bit of bodywork was rubbing there for a moment. But I was going to say, Bradley's gone from having a 4-point deficit... a 4-point advantage to a 5-point deficit to a 4-point advantage once again. If it finishes this way, and if he finishes with the contact that he's having with Clemens. Stefan Faas has quite a bit of damage on the front right of his truck. I've just seen on a different feed that goes through. Oh, Clemens Hecker's had another 10-second penalty. So 20 seconds added onto his race time, which will probably classify him at the next race meet. And he's had a drive-through penalty for it, actually, instead, which will pop him down the order anyway on track, not just on the timing sheets. That is a huge, huge shame. Steffi Halm, though, holding on right now ahead of Sasha Lenz and Antonio Albacete. There is Clemens Hecker in the background. Bradley Smith sliding around behind him, but look who's in the background, waiting in the wings. John Newell. John is less than 10 seconds behind Clemens Hecker, so he will also inherit a podium position. There is an incident under investigation between Clemens Hecker and Bradley Smith. I think Clemens potentially... I don't think he wanted to come into the pit lane, I'm not sure. Whether he got the drive-through before the message came through and then wanted to come in and serve it, and well, he couldn't really do anything about Bradley being there. Either that, or it was a very strong defensive manoeuvre that put Bradley almost into the pit lane himself. We move on to the final lap now, and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is flying. Absolutely flying. He's putting in some great lap times here as Now, Bradley has once again denied Clement Secker the chance to come in and serve his drive-through. Goes down the inside, says, no, you're not allowed in that pit lane. That's my domain. He spent long enough there before race 3 earlier. He's claimed ownership now. Steffi Halm still doing great stuff in 4th place. Antonio Albacetti can't do enough to get past Sasha Lenz yet. René Reinert still behind Lucas Hahn as well. Bradley Smith now on the road up into 2nd place in the Chrome class, and one more show between these two gentlemen, Norbert Kisch and Jochen Hahn. 6 championships apiece for these guys. And just to add to the list of penalties for Clement Secker, he's had a 5-second penalty now for forcing another truck off the track. He's going to be writing these down like MIG kills on the side of his truck. Round the outside goes Sasha Lenz trying to move on Steffi Halm. Not enough here, but can he get the run off the corner? Might have to ask Clement Secker if his favourite driver's Esteban Ocon after this race, following in his footsteps. This is a great battle, though, in the mid-pack here. Steffi Halm now having to really defend from Sasha Lenz. Sasha has lit it up on this final lap, trying to push as hard as he can to gain those extra places. But enjoy this, everybody, because this is the final moments of the race weekend here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship at the Nürburgring. And it's going to be a very popular victory, as into the final corner comes Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. He's not taken a win overall this season so far, but he's done it now. He gets his first one this season. Well done to the young Portuguese driver. Jochen Hahn 2nd, Norbert Kisch in 3rd. Steffi Halm, I think, is just going to hold on to 4th place ahead of Sasha Lenz and Antonio Albacetti. Then it's going to be Lucas Hahn, René Reinert, Bradley Smith, Clement Secker next on the road, but it's going to be John Newell, Luke Garrett, Stefan Faas, Stefan Kirsch, and then Louis Requenco, Christian Ruppert. Mark Taylor will be a DNF, and I think Clement Secker will probably have his time classified as somewhere at the next race meeting after that one, I'm afraid. But there is your race winner, everybody, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. He may have started on pole position yesterday and made a little bit of a mess of it, but I tell you, he has pulled through here. That's his first Titan victory in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. He's won a couple of races outright before, but he's done a good job there to win it in this class. Sasha Lenz doing some donuts down in the Mercedes arena. Steffi Halm doing so as well. I think queuing up, actually. There you go. Sasha pleasing the crowd down there. Fantastic to see. And look at that, Lucas Hahn as well, going around the outside of him, doing a huge donut. The two of them say, right, what are you doing? Wonderful choreography. Huge plumes of smoke. And I'm sure they will continue on drifting for the rest of the race. Or the rest of the lap. Look at all that from Lucas Hahn. Proper donuts. He's learned off his dad, hasn't he? Well, we always tell you about how sustainable Goodyear's tyres are. That shows you. Lucas Hahn wins all 4 races this weekend in the Chrome class. Amazing stuff. With Bradley Smith recovering his weekend to 2nd place, that now puts him back in front in the Chrome Championship by 4 points over Mark Taylor. We'll have to confirm a few other details later on with where Clement Secker ended up, as Lucas Hahn does some incredible drifting through the complex there. Look at that little transition left to right, all the way around. You can see the boost coming out of the thing. It's brilliant. Stefan Kirsch lighting up the rears of his MAN as well. Absolute plumes of smoke for Louis Requenco to make his way through. It's like someone's had an engine failure. You can hear them. Sasha Lenz has ended up off the circuit, drifting down at the hairpin. Lights it up again, though. More donuts in front of the crowd. Great stuff. Great entertainment. Look at that. It's fantastic showmanship from all of our drivers. The air horns are going. The tyres are screaming. And Sasha Lenz, I'm sure, has a huge smile on his face. He is a big showman, is Sasha. And look at that. I'm surprised Christian Ruppert will know where to go after that one. You don't want to sort of force your way through the smoke in case the truck's still there. Lucas Hahn doing the same as well, also lighting it up for the fans. This is the fun thing about these trucks. You see, they're over 5 tons, but over 3 tons of that is over the front axle. So with such little weight over the rear end, they can really throw it around, and they've got great balance for it. Speaking of great balance, though, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez kept that one nice and balanced, didn't he? Brilliant stuff from the young Portuguese driver, and his very passionate team coming to congratulate him. There'll be a party there tonight. There's the Tankpool 24 supporters in the crowd. Standing ovation for Stefan Faas, who makes his way around the circuit. You can still hear the tyres squealing and the air horns going in the background. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez takes his first overall win in the championship as a Titan driver. Great stuff. His father, Jose Rodriguez, there to give him a big hug as well. Very well done. The third generation of a family of truck drivers. Eduardo there as well, actually. Grandfather there to congratulate him. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. And a big handshake from Chaba Bacco as well from Reveche Racing. Lovely to see. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, for the first time, wins in the Titan class. He beats Jochen Hahn and Norbert Kisch to the line, with Steffi Halm in 4th place, Sascha Lenz in 5th, and Antonio Albacetti completes a bit of a rollercoaster weekend in 6th position. Lucas Hahn wins all 4 Chrome races, and I think some of the other drivers will be quite glad that he's not doing all the rounds this season. René Reinert was next up in the pack, and behind him, Bradley Smith and John Newell in 10th. Clemens Hecker will be classified way down at the end, actually behind Christian Ruppert as well, with 1 minute and 14 seconds between them. Luke Garrett then was 11th, ahead of Stefan Faas and Stefan Kirsch, with Louis Requenco moving up into 14th position. So Jochen Hahn, quick debrief for him. And a very interesting looking championship standings after that one, I'm sure. Going to do some maths while the drivers make their way in. But Jose Eduardo Rodriguez showed us just how good he can be. A big congratulations to Jochen as well. That's lovely to see. He made the effort to go and say congratulations to Jochen there. Fantastic stuff. So 4 wins out of 4 for Lucas. Mark Taylor nearly got 4 second places out of 4, but unfortunately in the end didn't go his way. Bradley Smith, funnily enough, gets his first podium of the weekend, actually. He'll have been wanting that one a lot more than others. Let's go back down to Christina, shall we? She's down there with our drivers.
Und das ist der erste Titansieg natürlich für Eduardo Rodrigues. Still talking to family. Parabéns, primeira vitória como Titan, the first victory as a Titan driver. How big is the relief?
Yeah, I'm feeling very good. I have problems in the gearbox in the first race, and now I'm a little debilitated. So the result is fantastic for me, for my team. And now I enjoy this moment.
Hatte sogar ein bisschen Probleme mit dem Getriebe, hat es aber hinbekommen, dann noch ganz gut zu rennen natürlich. Grundsätzlich, wir haben alle das verfolgt in der Kurve 8, Turn 8, there's been massive problem. Sorry, second question. Turn 8, massive problems, estava líquido na pista. How did you get through?
Yeah, in the one of the corners, I tried to curve, and with the liquid in the track, push me out. So I have a lot of space for the other pilots. For me, it's very good because I put the truck in the track. I try one more time. It's fantastic. I don't.
And Jochen Hahn, he made a good job also for you, maybe putting out elbows.
Secure the keys a long time, and I try to gain distance. And thank you for the support.
And great English, by the way. Er lernt natürlich auch echt Englisch hier gerade, deswegen ist es unter diesen Umständen, hat man richtig gemerkt, dass er einfach super erleichtert ist. Hat sich nochmal bei Jochen Hahn dafür bedankt, dass der seine Ellbogen so rausgefahren hat und natürlich auch Norbert Kisch ein bisschen weiter von ihm weggehalten hat. Und ja, Turn 8 in der Kurve 8, da hat er auch noch ein bisschen das Problem, wie alle Fahrerinnen und Fahrer, dann diese Flüssigkeit auf der Strecke dann zu umgehen. Wir steigen jetzt mal ein in den VIP-Shuttle. Kommt doch einfach mal mit. Oh, sorry. Achtung, ich muss ja auch aufpassen, dass ich hier nicht irgendwie kollidiere. Aber das hier ist so sieht's aus. Mit dem Shuttle geht es halt dann Richtung Podium gleich los. So we're entering the VIP Shuttle and right now off to the podium. Wir melden uns aber gleich nochmal. We'll be back in a second.
Off goes Christina then to the podium with our drivers. They'll be getting into the shuttle in just a moment. But what a great way to end the weekend. A very dramatic race here at the Nürburgring in the fourth and final race of the weekend. And after doing a little bit of maths there while Christina did the interviews, it is 211 points to Norbert Kisch over 162 for Jochen Hahn and Steffi Halm on 112. And I can tell you that Albacete is now tied with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Let's go back to Christina.
Und so sieht das aus im VIP-Shuttle hier. Die Getränke werden kühl serviert bei Jochen Hahn. Das war ein richtiges Stück Arbeit, auf die Ellbogen nochmal so auszupacken. Ne? Und vor allen Dingen, der Kerl hat sich gerade da bedankt, auch für dieses Rennen, weil Norbert Kisch ganz gut weggehalten.
Naja, gut, was heißt, die junge Herren zeigen es dem alten Mann hier, gell? Aber ich denke, nee, heute kann es nicht sein, dass sie von alle abgeklettert wird. Ich bin richtig gut durchgekommen, hatte Glück. Man sieht hier auch, ein zweiter Rennen am Sonntag ist oft auch ein bisschen viel Optimismus drin. Und ich habe gedacht, nein, nichts kaputt machen. Gut, ein bisschen was ist kaputt, aber ja, ich wollte ihn dann natürlich halten. Letztes Jahr hat er mich abgeklettert, der Hund. Und von dem her denke ich, nee, heute nicht. No, I say not here. You have me abgeledert. You understand abgeledert? Abgeledert is a German word.
Yeah. How to translate? That push you off?
You do it very clever last year, and I say, no, not on this corner, please. No.
I was looking at it as well. Oh, can I do it again? But no.
Dummheit ist nur, wenn man Fehler zweimal macht. You understand?
No.
Good. Please translate.
Okay, stupid is the only guy that doing the same mistakes twice, he said.
Yeah, well, he didn't.
Hey, pass auf, ich muss einen Gruß sagen. Ist live.
Ja, jetzt hau rein.
Hey, Theo, ich hab gesagt, wenn ich lache, dann gab ich dir einen Gruß. Halt die Ohren steif.
That was a shout out to Theo. And
Onkel Theo.
Shout out from uns.
Ja, er hat gesagt, ich lach wie ein Schlitzohr, hat er gesagt.
Bye bye, back to commentators.
Great fun to be had there in the shuttle with Jochen Hahn and Norbert Kisch. It's always great to see them poking a little bit of fun at each other at the end of the day. It's great camaraderie. Let's have a look at some highlights then, shall we, of another crazy race here at the Nürburgring. Lots to look at and lots to listen to. And, well, with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez at the front of the grid, we all knew that he was a candidate to take a race victory. But could Mark Taylor hold on to a win in the Chrome class after Lucas Hahn had turned up and been so dominant? It was a great start by Jose Eduardo, going from second to first, while the rest of the field all shuffled around trying to sort it out in the opening laps. Sascha Lenz was making moves, getting past Lucas Hahn. Lucas went a little bit wide here and got really shoveled down the order as Jochen Hahn, Sascha Lenz, Norbert Kisch and then Antonio Albacete came through. And then there was oil down at turn 8, which caused a lot of drama for a number of the drivers. And all of a sudden, Mark Taylor ended up flying off the circuit. There was this moment with Steffi Halm as well, who would give the position away to Norbert Kisch in the end, and Sascha Lenz would spend the rest of the race trying to chase her down and get that extra position. It was very, very dramatic, though, as Mark Taylor's coolant pipe let go, flew it down at the cornerman. Everybody almost went off, and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez was the only one to carry on. If anything, that probably saved Jose Eduardo's race. He also did have a little excursion, though, later on when he arrived on that fluid, but he would hold on enough as Mark Taylor headed to the pit lane, and an unfortunate DNF for him and the team. With that, he loses the lead in the Chrome Championship, while Clemens Hecker had just about every penalty he could have got through this race. A big scrap with Bradley Smith as well led to a 5-second penalty for forcing Bradley off the circuit. Rene Reinert drove a good race to recover, but Jose Eduardo Rodriguez wins his first race as a Titan driver. And the guys do a great job at entertaining the crowds here with donuts, burnouts, and everything in between in their wonderful racing trucks. Big smiles there on the face of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. It almost looks like they've carried on the drifting down there, actually, but I believe there's a demonstration going on in the fan area, which is where the stage is for this podium. And we'll have a couple of podiums, actually, for this one. Rather than just the overall drivers and the Chrome, we will also have the young drivers podium, I believe, which will be Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Lucas Hahn, and Bradley Smith, a new category to promote young drivers coming through into the ranks of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship and other forms of truck racing as well. It's such a close family in many ways, this truck racing. It's great to see a younger generation making their way through. We wait now, though, for the dust to settle, so to speak, the drivers will make their way over. And you can see on the right-hand side of the podium there, the wonderful trophy, as one of the drivers is declared the winner of the Truck Grand Prix. It's the driver that amasses the most points over the course of the weekend. And with a first and a third and then a first and a third, it's no surprise that that will be Norbert Kisch for this weekend, unless, of course, with 4 Chrome victories, Lucas Hahn is considered for that. Whether it's regardless of class, we'll have to see. But you can see the beautiful golden trophy on the right-hand side there, which is much sought after by all these drivers. There is Joachim Eberts, EB, announcing to the crowd.
Der Goodyear European Truck Racing Championship 2025 hier beim Truck Grand Prix.
He's getting the fans all excited down there before announcing there's Norbert Kisch making his way over. And he will be the first one on the podium, I believe. 3rd position overall in that race. Reigning champion, 6-time champion, and current 2025 championship leader, Norbert Kisch. Just about every accolade in truck racing has now been claimed by the fantastic Hungarian. Big wave to the crowds, making sure he's definitely on the right step. Jochen Hahn, a huge reception for him. He's got so many fans here in Germany and a massive smile on his face as well. Great respect and camaraderie between him and Norbert Kisch. They've had some fierce battles over the years, especially here at the Nürburgring as well. But what about Jose Eduardo Rodriguez? His first win as a Titan driver. And this one will mean just as much as any of his Chrome wins that he had last year. And Norbert Kisch gets his 3rd place trophy. Another piece of silverware to add to, well, similar to what I describe Jochen's silverware shelf as more of a warehouse than a trophy shelf. And Jose Eduardo Rodriguez gets his first overall winner trophy. That one will mean a lot. Now we'll have the Portuguese national anthem for our winning driver.
Nochmal einen Riesenapplaus für José Eduardo Rodriguez, Jochen Hahn und Norbert Kisch. Macht mal ein bisschen Wallung, das ist die letzte Siegerehrung.
And there you go, a big round of applause, and still Norby's fans there in the front row.
Gentlemen, change your
And the guys pose on the top step for their trophies. I imagine in just a moment, sorry, pose for their photos, not trophies. Pose with the trophies for the photos. There you go. I imagine in just a moment, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is about to get drenched. Norbert Kisch and Jochen Hahn have got a lot of experience spraying champagne. With over 1,000 races between them. Yes, no escape. Absolutely no escape for Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. And Norbert Kisch gets him good as well. Jochen gets Norby, and all fun ensues. Brilliant stuff. Now, of course, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez will not be reappearing for the Chrome podium, which is what we were used to last season. There are the championship standings then. 211 points for Norbert Kisch. He leads the way over Jochen Hahn on 162. 112. Steffi Halm still in 3rd position. René Reinert next up ahead of Sasha Lenz. And then we have 2 drivers on 74 points, Antonio Albacetti and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. 32 points for Mark Taylor ahead of Bradley Smith, with Lucas Hahn, after just 1 race meeting, making it up into the top 10. He's ahead of Heinrich Clemens Hecker on 25. With 17 points is Stefan Faas, John Newell on 12, and then 7-7-2 for Andre Rikwenko and Garrett. And this is the halfway point of the season as well. 8 race meetings this year. And Norbert Kisch comes away from here with a 49-point lead in the championship. And bearing in mind that an entire race weekend, if you've got maximum points, it's 60 points. Norby is already making huge waves towards a record-breaking 7th title and 5th in a row.
John Newell.
Here we are then for the chrome podium. John Newell should be the first one up by my calculations, and there he is. I still don't know how his massive shoulders don't rip those overalls, to be fair. But John, cheeky grin on his face. As ever, he'll be pleased with another bit of silverware. This guy will be happy with just any silverware from this weekend. Bradley Smith having a really rough ride here at the Nürburgring, and what a recovery that was from him and his team today. And boy, you can tell that's a grin of relief from him. He'll be pleased to be up there. But a chrome victory for the fourth and final time this weekend will go the way of Lucas Hahn. He was pretty unstoppable this time round, was he not? A great team to support him, and some good shenanigans there with John Newell. And they received their trophies in reverse order. It's Rudy Spike of the ADAC who will be giving the trophies out. And I must apologise to Rudy if he ever hears this, that I got my Rudys confused. I know Rudy Bollig from the ADAC as well, and thought that that was the Rudy that was alluded to for the podium. 4 trophies out of 4 for Lucas Hahn. And a massive grin on his face, bigger than usual. And now we get the German national anthem, which will ring out around the Nürburgring.
So, nochmal ein Riesenapplaus für die 3, für Lucas Hahn, für Bradley Smith und auch für John Newell. Chrom-Kategorie gewonnen. Offizielle Fotos.
And there we go then, our chrome podium. Apologies for that slight disconnection for a second there from my end here.
It's time for champagne.
And a very happy Lucas Hahn will spray the champagne. And the guys all say cheers to one another and make their way off the podium. Let's have a look at the championship standings then in chrome. And it's Bradley Smith at the top now with 4 points over Mark Taylor. 127 points though for John Newell. He's overtaken Clemens Hecker this weekend and extended that gap as well. Louis Requenco in 5th position on 84 points. Stefan Faast next up on 77. And then 71 for Luke Garrett. Lucas Hahn, I should say, sorry. 60 points for him, with Christian Ruppert and Jonathan Andre next up, and Stefan Kirsch just behind. Very, very close stuff, though, in the Chrome Championship. It's always good fun watching those guys. They have fantastic battles between one another. And it's flipped one way and then the other very quickly over the course of this weekend. Bradley and Mark almost handing each other the championship lead at different points.
Auf dem 3. Platz aus Großbritannien für Don't Touch Racing. Congratulations, Bradley.
I believe there are some corrections to be made to my maths from earlier as well, by the look of it.
Ich darf auf das Podium bitten.
This is the young drivers podium then. And up onto the podium goes Bradley Smith, 3rd place in the young drivers.
Auf der 2. Position.
Jose Eduardo Rodriguez makes his way up to 2nd position. And after an absolutely flawless weekend, what better way to round it out than taking the young drivers win for the weekend for Lucas Hahn. A big, big wave and a big, big smile for a big, big character. We only wish we could see more of Lucas in the championship and see him racing at more events. Bradley with a really cool looking trophy, actually. Very cool stuff from the young drivers. They've got the best looking trophies of the lot this weekend, actually. It's great to see this category being celebrated, though. The young drivers and the next generation of truck racing drivers coming through, and a huge, huge smile on the face of Lucas Hahn. And once again, the German national anthem.
Ich darf nochmal um einen Riesenapplaus bitten für die besten Young Driver, die in der
And there you go, the Young Driver podium celebrated.
zusammengefasst sind. Lukas Hahn,
And they will pose on the top step for their pictures before it gets a little bit louder here this afternoon with the ADAC GT Masters taking to the circuit just after us. The wonderful sounds of 6-cylinders, V8s, and of course the amazing V10s of the Lamborghinis and Audis will take to the track. But first, a quick spray of the champagne by the young drivers with their respective teams to go and celebrate. Back to Christina.
Ja, vielen herzlichen Dank. It was a great weekend and we tried to catch the last interview. This is backstage at side of the podium. Wir sind hier richtig backstage und so schnell kann man sich einen Interviewpartner abgreifen. Champagnerflasche muss er mal ganz kurz abstellen. Congratulations Bradley, der natürlich auch hier die große Trophäe mitnimmt. Young Drivers Category und deswegen der kleine Schluck aus der Pulle. Alkoholfrei. Der muss erstmal sein. So schnell geht es hier mit dem Interview. Kurze Einschätzung, Lukas. Was für ein Wochenende hier zu Hause und ganz am Ende immer noch mal wieder rauf aufs Podium. Wie ist es?
Ja, also es ist mega schön. Heimatstrecke. Ich bin froh, dass es jetzt alles wirklich so gut geklappt hat und bin auch wirklich stolz und dankbar für alle, die mich unterstützt haben, dass ich hier sein kann. Ich bin mega happy. Also Jochen, Steffi, Lukas, also wir als Team gemeinsam haben echt ein mega Wochenende gehabt. Wir sind stolz drauf und so kann es weitergehen.
Und jetzt könnt ihr noch ein bisschen feiern. Viel Spaß auf jeden Fall noch. Genießt es. That was Lukas Hahn. He said he's absolutely happy because it's been, the great weekend here on home turf. And it's the team of Lukas and Jochen. And he mentioned himself and Steffi. That's likely, the three players of joy here. As you can see, they're talking again to each other with Norbert Kisch. Das sind doch die besten Bilder hier am Ende. Schöner kann man es auch nicht beschließen mit all den Fahrern und Fahrerinnen und vor allen Dingen den Fans, die hier noch gemeinsam die Teams feiern. Deswegen sagen wir erstmal Tschüss vom Nürburgring. We say goodbye from the Nürburgring and see you soon for the next episode of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. It's been a great, great weekend. Till next time. Bye.
Und da sind wir wieder. Die Truck-Europameisterschaft hatte sehr, sehr erfolgreiche und spannende Rennen und viele haben wahrscheinlich drauf gewartet. Alle die Fans vom GT3-Rennen sind von den ADAC GT Masters natürlich. Wir übergeben jetzt an Patrick Simon. Die nächsten 90 Minuten gehören euch. Jede Menge Motorsport mit jeder Menge schicker Autos. Ich wünsche euch ganz viel Spaß dabei. Wir sehen uns im